Greetings and good vibes, everybody. It's your guy John Tell, joined with our co-host Meg. How you doing today, love?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm tired, but I can't complain. It is that time of year for us in the Northeast PA. Hurricanes, wet and mugginess. I mean, it's sun is shining today, but I'm just feeling really tired today. I'm not even going to lie.
No, I'm with you, but we are blessed and highly favored. And we got a lot to talk about. So,
We
let's get into it.
do. We do. Yeah. We definitely are going to get into some news. We have a lot of news to talk about with y'all today. But first, we just want to, of course, as always, thank you for viewing and supporting us. And if you would like to support more, or if you are looking into advertisement opportunities, interviews, or you want to provide information, just DM us at the information at the bottom of the screen. If you would like to donate as well, you can donate to contacts at the bottom of the screen. All right. So today, some of the news is going to be provided by Democracy Now. Democracy Now always has great news to offer. So the Federal Reserve has voted to raise U.S. interest rates for the third consecutive time, bringing the cost of borrowing money from the Treasury above 3%. Federal Chair Jerome Powell acknowledged Wednesday that the move could lead the U.S. into a recession, but said the need to battle inflation outpaced the prospect of an economic slowdown. Powell said the U.S. housing market is headed for a, quote unquote correction, and said U.S. unemployment remains too low with demand for labor outpacing supply. The federal interest rates hikes have prompted fierce criticism from progressives and union leaders. Massachusetts Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren tweeted, quote, I've been warning that Chair Powell's Fed would throw millions of Americans out of work, and I fear he's already on the path to doing so. Now, given inflation, and inflation is false, they create this, I want people to keep that in mind. This is just one more nail in the coffin for American capitalism, and I don't think people really realize that. What say you, Meg?
No, because that's what the world sets us up to, divide instead of unite. And so, everybody is definitely not on the same page. If we were, there wouldn't be half as much, problems as we're facing, and there'd be more world peace. I sound like
Talk
Miss
about it.
Congeniality, but like, come on, guys. Yes.
Talk about it, though. No, you're right. Um, there we go. Okay,
So the goal
so
is coming across all lines of vision and loving one another, planting seeds of hope and compassion and kindness and humanity. And then those seeds will grow into what we plant them as. It's that easy, everybody.
talk about it. Talk about it. All right. So the next story has to do with, well, Minneapolis. Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, you remember the former Minneapolis police officer who pinned George Floyd down, Derek Chauvin?
Yes.
Yeah, we will
Hmm.
talk about him in a second.
I watched that whole trial from start to finish and learned.
So I needed a quick bathroom break for a second. Um, and I know I cut you off. You
Potty
were
break.
talking. Yes.
No, you're
All
good.
right. All right. So the story that I told you, I'm a little discombobulated today. I'm a little tired, but the stories still go on. So the ex Minneapolis cop Thomas Lane, not Derek Chauvin, sorry, um, Thomas Lane pleaded guilty in May to a second-degree manslaughter charge in connection with Floyd's murder. Lane is already serving a 30-month federal prison term for violating Floyd's civil rights. Now, you said something about you followed the whole case. What were you saying?
The George Floyd case is really what taught me so much about what goes on in the courtroom. I, like a lot of America, was kind of like wasn't really ever focused on, what goes on in the courtroom and how people conduct themselves, how they speak to one another, how they ask questions. And I could have never prepared myself better than for me myself having to get on the stand, for a PCRA for a friend of mine, than to watch, things like that. And I had never sit down and watched any court case like ever from start to finish, but that was the first one I was really interested in. It was the most disgusting, inhumane thing I've ever seen in my whole life.
Well, yeah. I guess I'm just used to it. I don't know.
100%.
In Russia,
9 minutes and 34 seconds.
Yeah. Protests erupted in Russia, in Moscow, St. Petersburg, and at least 36 other cities on Wednesday after President Vladimir Putin announced plans to mobilize 300,000 additional troops to fight in Ukraine. Protesters shouted in Russian, no to war. They were met by officers in riot gear who dragged them into police buses. A Russian human rights monitor says similar scenes played out across 38 Russian cities as police arrested nearly 1,400 people. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, well, Jenny Thomas agreed. I know. Jenny Thomas agreed to be questioned by the January 6th committee. Yeah. And as we all know, she is the wife of Justice Clarence Thomas. And we all know if you don't know, Jenny Thomas sent
Tell me, please.
So after the insurrection, so-called insurrection, or during the so-called insurrection, she apparently has sent text messages to Trump's to Mark Meadows. Yeah, trying to get him to take action against to prevent a Biden victory. And apparently the messages included conspiracy theories from the QAnon movement. And she also attended the so-called Stop the Steal rally in DC that preceded the January 6th assault on Congress. And she lobbied dozens of Republican lawmakers in Wisconsin and Arizona to overturn Joe Biden's electoral college victory. So they're expected to hold its last public hearing on the 28th. Yeah. Well, I mean, both of them I can't stand, but that's just my opinion.
I don't know anything about them, so I don't have an opinion. But I feel like anything to do with the insurrection of the Capitol of the United States of America is big, and we don't do that, people. Like, if it was a bunch of black people run up in there, they would have all been shot and killed. Stop playing with me.
I'm done.
But I'm going to sit back down because it's crazy.
No, you're exactly right. What I really wanted to get into here and why I was talking about the insurrection, I do want to talk about Trump today. So, New York's Attorney General has sued Donald Trump, 3 of his adult children, and other executives at the Trump Organization, accusing them of widespread financial fraud. Letitia James announced the charges on Thursday, saying that for over a decade, the Trumps grossly inflated their businesses' net worth by billions of dollars while deceiving lenders, insurers, and tax officials with false and misleading financial statements. James's civil lawsuit seeks $250 million in penalties and to bar the Trumps from operating a business in New York State. James is also sharing her findings with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, the IRS, and the Department of Justice to aid any future criminal prosecutions of the Trumps. She said, quote, "The pattern of fraud and deception that was used by Mr. Trump and the Trump Organization for their own financial benefit is astounding. Claiming you have money that you do not have does not amount to the art of the deal. It's the art of the steal. and there cannot be
Mhm.
different rules for different people in this country or in this state, and former presidents are no different. End quote. Woo!
Yes, honey.
Woo!
Yes.
The way that she said that, yes, the way that she said that though, she spoke with some gusto. Let
She
me
definitely
find.
she dropped the mic when she walked away, bro, for real.
Oh yeah, I'm going
I would
to
have.
find right. I'm gonna find the clip quick. This was from yesterday. Okay, so I'm just going to jump to it real quick. That's not it. There we go. And let's listen to Amy Goodman real quick.
Children and other executives at the Trump Organization, accusing them of widespread financial fraud. Letitia James announced the charges Thursday, saying that for over a decade, the Trumps grossly inflated their business's net worth by billions of dollars while deceiving lenders, insurers, and tax officials with false and misleading financial statements. James said the lawsuit seeks $250 million in penalties and to bar the Trumps from operating a business in New York. James is also sharing her findings with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, the IRS, and the Department of Justice to aid any future criminal prosecutions of the Trumps.
The pattern of fraud and deception that was used by Mr. Trump and the Trump Organization for their own financial benefit is astounding. Claiming you have money that you do not have.
Astounding.
The art of the deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's the art of the steal. And there cannot be different rules for different people in this country or in this state.
Yes.
And former presidents are no.
A federal appeals court has ruled the Justice Department can resume its use of records marked as classified in its investigation of former Trump's mishandling of government documents. The ruling's a major setback for Donald Trump in his efforts to derail a federal criminal probe into whether he violated the Espionage Act and presidential records laws, and whether he obstructed justice to cover up those crimes. On Wednesday, a 3-judge panel of the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals rejected key parts of the federal district judge Eileen Cannon that put the DOJ's investigation on hold while a special master reviews the documents. Judge Cannon was nominated to the federal bench by President Trump. On Wednesday, Donald Trump gave his first TV interview since the FBI executed the search warrant at his Mar-a-Lago resort in August. Trump.
OMG. All right. So, yeah, like I said, the way that she spoke that was I couldn't do it any justice. Like,
she articulated it so well.
Right.
But what do you want to bet that she's now getting death threats?
Oh, I'm sure she was getting death threats before she came out with this. She's been trying to do this for a while. I think it's just now going through. But this like I think she started coming for him this time last year, maybe a little before. So it's just nice to see this finally come to fruition. Yeah. As you can see on the screen, this article, Donald Trump's legal woes mount without the protection of presidency. Stark repudiation by federal judges he appointed, far-reaching fraud allegations by New York's Attorney General. It's been a week of widening legal troubles for Donald Trump, laying bare the challenges piling up as the former president operates without the protections afforded by the White House. The bravado that served him well in the political arena is less handy in a legal realm dominated by the verifiable evidence, where judges this week have looked askance at his claims and where a fraud investigation that took root when Trump was still president burst into public view in an allegation-filled 222-page state lawsuit.
Wow.
Yeah, and this is from New York. Remember, in politics, you can say what you want, and if people like it, it works. In a legal realm, it's different, said Chris Edelson, a presidential power scholar and American University government professor. He says it's an arena where there are tangible consequences for missteps, misdeeds, false statements in a way that doesn't apply in politics, right? That distinction between politics and law was evident in a single 30-hour period this week. Trump insisted on Fox News in an interview that aired Wednesday that the highly classified government records he had at Mar-a-Lago actually had been declassified. That a president
Oh my
has the
goodness.
right that a president has the power to declassify information, quote, even by thinking about it. End quote. I'm sorry.
What?
Right. A day earlier, however, an independent arbiter said his own lawyers had recommended appeared skeptical when the Trump team declined to present any information to support his claims that the documents had been declassified. The special master, Raymond Dearie, a veteran federal judge, said Trump's team was trying to have its cake and eat it too, and that absent information to back up the claims, he was inclined to regard the records the way the government does, classified. On Wednesday morning, as we
Right.
were just showing you all, Letitia James, the state attorney for New York, the New York State Attorney General, accused Trump in a lawsuit of padding his net worth by billions of dollars and habitually misleading banks about the value of prized assets. And the lawsuit, the culmination of a 3-year investigation that began when he was president, also names as defendants 3 of his adult children and seeks to bar them from ever again running a company in the state.
Good.
Trump has denied any wrongdoing. Oh my goodness. And the court overwhelmingly rejected arguments that he was entitled to have the special master do an independent review of the roughly 100 classified documents taken during last month's FBI search. Wow. That
He's a
ruling,
mess.
he is. That ruling has opened the way for the Justice Department to resume its use of the classified records in its probe. It lifted a hold placed by a lower court judge, who was Eileen Cannon, a Trump appointee, whose rulings in the Mar-a-Lago matter had to date been the sole bright spot for the former president. On Thursday, she responded by striking the parts of her order that have required the Justice Department to give Dearie and Trump's lawyers access to the classified records. Dearie followed up with his own order, giving the Trump team until September 30th to identify errors or mistakes in the FBI's detailed inventory of items taken in the search. This is crazy.
Wow.
Between Dearie's position and the appeals court ruling, quote, I think that basically there may be a developing consensus, if not an already developed consensus, that the government has the stronger position in a lot of these issues and a lot of these controversies, end quote, said Richard Serafini, who is a Florida criminal defense lawyer and former Justice Department prosecutor. To be sure, Trump is hardly a stranger to courtroom dramas, having been deposed in numerous lawsuits throughout his decades-long business career, and he has demonstrated a remarkable capacity to survive situations that seemed dire. His lawyers did not immediately respond to the Baltimore Sun for a request seeking comment, but in the White House, Trump had faced a perilous investigation into whether he had obstructed a Justice Department probe of possible collusion between Russia and his 2016 campaign. Ultimately, he was protected, at least in part, by the power of the presidency, with special counsel Robert Mueller citing long-standing department policy prohibiting the indictment of a sitting president. He was twice impeached by a Democratic-led House of Representatives over a phone call with Ukraine's leader, Volodymyr Zelensky, and the second time over the January 6th, 2021 riot at the Capitol, but was acquitted by the Senate on both occasions thanks to political support from fellow Republicans. It remains unclear if any of the current investigations, the Mar-a-Lago ones, or the probes related to January 6th or Georgia election interference, will produce criminal charges, and the New York lawsuit is a civil matter. So, really, this article is basically, compiling all of the different matters that he is facing, but it also is, still giving credit to the fact that nothing could also come from this as well. Yeah.
And that's crazy, because if it was, somebody else, or, they did something different, or if it was just somebody else, they would already be in jail.
For real.
And that just shows you that our system is, against us, and that money will buy everything. Money and bullshit.
I could agree with you more. All right, let's watch this one. I think you sent this to me, Meg.
Your truck tells the world is.
Or we just won't watch that ad. I don't like ads. I mean, not at least ads that
No, for sure.
yeah, our own ads,
Yeah.
which we are working on that. So are we ready?
Making solid strides. Yes.
Now it's not going to. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So apparently, what was this about? Do you have any backstory to this, Meg?
To be honest, let me see.
Here we go.
Calling this encounter between code enforcement and a Valley Street vendor an injustice. It happened on Friday night outside the SafeMart Center after a concert. In the viral clip, Public Health is seen tossing away hot dogs after finding out the vendor did not have the proper permit to sell. The food cart is later confiscated.
This is just a young, boy trying to earn a living.
City Council member Luis Chavez says the boy in the video is 16-year-old Edgar Toll from Bakersfield. Chavez explains the city of Fresno was not involved, but it was actually the county. Fresno County Public Health says the SafeMart Center requested the inspection, and they are required by the state to, quote, discard any food that may cause foodborne illness.
I think with the county and all the pressing issues that we have with homelessness, with illegal dumping, I think they could have made better use of their time.
Last year, the city
Completely.
of Fresno launched the Street Vendor Association to protect vendors against violent attacks, while also helping them navigate the city and county permitting process. Miguel Ruiz is a member of the association and says the county permits have a lot of requirements that make it challenging for them to register, and it can be expensive.
Anywhere from $700 to $2,000.
Chavez says he will be working with county leaders to streamline this process.
We're going to be working with them on making sure that we either reduce those fees or figure out some kind of a grant.
And the Street Vendor Association tells me they continue working with mobile vendors to try and guide them through this process. For more information, visit our website, Your Central Valley.
This is stuff that happens all the time, even with not even just food, but electronics and things that stores don't sell by a certain period. They just throw away, even if it's brand new, still in wrap. It's crazy the kind of stuff that we throw away.
They
That
mark it
hasn't
down
been
as damaged,
at all.
and they get their money back for it. Yep, I know.
It's insane.
It's sad. Yeah.
That is something actually we should break into a whole nother episode to talk about, and I can expand on it. So we should work on that. This next news article, I'm not sure if people have been following this story. We did follow it back in 2020 when it first happened, but this is from Twitter via one of our correspondents saying from Grassroots Law, never forget that police in Philadelphia dragged a Black woman out of her car, beat her, and then used her toddler in a dishonest social media campaign to claim that they keep people safe. They don't. Real public safety happens when we invest in our communities to make sure that people have their needs met and can get the help they need. This is why we are making it clear to Joe Biden that we don't need to spend additional $13 billion to hire and train more cops to police our communities. This is a massive betrayal and incredibly dangerous to Black and brown communities. You can add your name to the link in the bio at Grassroots Law on Instagram if you agree. So the city of Philadelphia will pay $2 million to a Black woman who was pulled from her car, beaten by officers, and had her toddler used for social media fodder by the police union. And I remember seeing this on live. I remember seeing this transpire, and that is what got me up and out of my house and to the streets of Philadelphia to take part in taking to the streets because of that situation. It's
that
ridiculous.
is crazy.
Yeah, I mean Walter Wallace too, but that situation was like, okay, I've had enough.
Right.
Woman who was left in police car parked on railroad tracks injured in train collision, officials say. This is from Ben Crump. Police officers in Platteville, Colorado left a handcuffed 20-year-old in a police cruiser parked on train tracks. What? Moments later, a train struck the vehicle. leaving the detained
What
woman with
the
severe injuries.
fuck?
Wow. 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 Yeah.
Show the
I
video.
do want to.
Oh,
What's that?
I didn't say anything.
So I'm not sure if anyone caught this. This is another one I wanted to get into. Someone sent me. A family is pleading for help after their incarcerated loved one appears to be extremely malnourished in photos sent from prison. The person says, my brother Costello Vaughn, he's currently an inmate placed at Elmore Correctional Facility. I'm coming to you right now based on my brother's health. My brother's health is rapidly declining. As you can see in these photos, he is extremely malnourished. In these particular photos, he cannot walk nor stand. He is weak and vulnerable. My last visitation with my brother was July 24th, 2022, and he was in good condition. Wow. I am not a doctor, but his health seems to be deteriorating. I received 2 pictures of him today saying, get help. I'm asking for you to simply share and get these pictures out. This is violating human rights. I don't see how you cannot get help when an individual is in this state. Tag all news stations, please, and anybody that can help with this issue. This is urgent, and I am concerned and scared for my brother's health. This is from family members.
This is America. Everybody pay attention.
The now viral post comes days after the same facility had to place corrections officer #Eli White on leave following the release of a video that shows him beating a distressed inmate who climbed to the edge of a roof. So this guy beat someone who was, wow. Just wow.
Mm-mm.
The Alabama Department of Corrections has since shared an update saying he is assigned to Elmore Correctional Facility, but is currently housed at Staten Medical Observation Unit. ADOC's Office of Health Services has fully investigated his situation from a clinical perspective, and he has been offered all necessary treatment for his condition. Also, he has been in touch with his family to update them on his situation. Like you said, this is America.
Wow. This happens a lot, everybody. This is a sad but very true story. These people that are incarcerated, their human rights are being defied from it goes from religion to them not letting, all the Muslim brothers be together like they would the Christians. It goes to illegal strip searches that are happening, that are making people lose their integrity, just by being in a vulnerable situation. It's defying, mass incarceration is a huge thing. We will definitely have an episode to follow regarding the element that inmates are in, especially here in even our Lancaster County, and they're wanting to build a new jail, which is definitely going to, offset a lot of people in our community that are already experiencing, homelessness and poverty, and especially in communities of, Black and brown folks. That's why we have to come together and raise hell, because if we don't, nobody else is going to. And this is our family members. Like, I can't, say that enough. Like, these are our members of our community. They're valuable. They hold, they deserve compassion, humanity, love, nourishment. I mean, just like we said yesterday, a lot of these situations, people are reacting on their instinct. They're committing a permanent decision on a temporary emotion. So it has to be looked at so many different angles. They don't deserve to be like in the hole with asbestos everywhere, like it is in Lancaster County. Like, they don't need to be mistreated and beaten like it's happening in Los Angeles. They don't need to be covering up deaths as they're doing, across the country, saying it's passive hanging. And in all reality, it's, blunt force trauma received by either inmates or correctional officers. Like, we have to stand up. We have to be observant. We have to pay attention, or this is going to continue happening.
I love that rant you just went on.
So make your local force. Yes, thank you. Make your local police force, jail, prison facility accountable. Make them transparent. They will have to listen to you if you say it enough, loud enough. Scream it from the mountaintops. Come together. Okay, I'm done. I'm gonna go off my pulpit again.
No, you're right. This is also from attorney Ben Crump on via Instagram, so you can check it out on Instagram. A Kansas deputy tased a 12-year-old. How can Jackson County
This makes
deputy
me so mad.
Matthew Honus shackle, hog tie, and tase a 12-year-old autistic boy who Honus knew had special needs inside his police vehicle and not have his law enforcement certification revoked? This is grossly unacceptable. We strongly urge that the Kansas Commission of Peace Officers Standards and Training to rethink its decision to only reprimand this deputy. There should be full transparency over this misconduct.
Fire him. What if that was your son? What if that was my son? Fire him. We demand him to be dismissed from the police force and not to be transferred out. That happens as well whenever we have shootings and bad situations that happen. When you see an officer disappear, they usually have just relocated to a closer area away from the incident area.
Talk about it.
If I'm lying, I'm dying. Look it up.
Another story from Grassroots Law that we have followed since its inception is the story of Fontability, because it's very close to home. We can't let the officers who killed 8-year-old Fontability get away with it. The next hearing is this upcoming Monday, and the judge could drop the charges against all 3 officers unless we make our voices heard. We need everyone to follow Justice for Fanta's Instagram page and then take action by calling the number on the screen, which I will put in the comments, to talk to local Sharon Hill officials and demand justice for Fanta. We will give you instructions as soon as you call. There's no experience required. Add your name at the link in the bio to amplify the demands. As soon as you sign, an email is sent to those of the same officials demanding that these officers are held accountable. So I will go ahead and give the link. I'll put the link to you for this. Excuse me, can't talk right. I will put the link for this in the comments for y'all to check out, and that is via YouTube. Yeah, this story is one that really breaks my heart.
100%. She was 8 years old. And I hope to goodness that everybody in Philadelphia can band together and get justice for this little girl. She had her whole life ahead of her. She didn't do anything wrong. She was just being a child.
Yeah, I try not to think too much about this story because it gets me really infuriated. And it also it involves so many different elements of so many things that I think people really kind of forget about. And this story really didn't really take off nationally like other stories did. And that's I think part of what also infuriates me about it as well. It's just not okay.
Justice for Fanta. And prayers and good vibes to her family as they, have to be directly impacted now to an awful situation. And if they would like to reach out to us, we would love to speak to them. We love to paint the side of the picture of the victim of the situation. They didn't deserve that. And the family definitely should not be ever afraid to talk about their loved one, especially this sweet little girl. So if you are the parents of Fantability, please don't hesitate to reach out to us, DM, or you can call the number on the bottom of our screen. And we would love to set up a time to bring you on air and talk about it. We want this little girl's legacy to continue on and for, to be able to turn their pain into power.
That's right. Man, I know you had more stories for me. Don't you have more stories for me, Meg?
There was a new one that was breaking whenever we actually had already went live. I can go ahead and read it to you.
Yeah.
According to, let me see here. Hold on, my computer's gonna be slow. This was on our Free Agents for Justice group. According
Okay.
to the Austin Police Department, at 9:20 a.m., a 911 call came in as a disturbance, which was upgraded to a gunshot call. At 9:22, officers were dispatched and arrived at 9:35 a.m. Children were apparently involved in this, and there was a child hostage situation. But when officers arrived, he was outside on Caddy Street without any children. Apparently, the man had a gun in his hands when officers asked him to de-escalate. He put the gun on himself, acting like he was going to shoot himself. At 9:40, SWAT was called to the scene. Officers asked him to drop the gun, and he was agitated and was refusing to do so. At 9:46 a.m., a mental health officer arrived to de-escalate. At 9:51, the gunman said he would shoot himself if officers refused to shoot him. At 9:56, the first SWAT officer arrived on scene. At 10:10, a negotiator arrived on scene. It became an open air SWAT call. Officers then attempted to evacuate the neighborhood. Over 2 hours, there were more de-escalation attempts, including phone calls. The gunman put the gun to his waistband. At 11:51, officers approached to have a less than lethal takedown with tasers and less than lethal ammunition. That's when he pulled out the gun, and a SWAT officer fatally shot the man, performed life-saving measures, but at 11:59, he was pronounced deceased. Officers are now placed on administrative leave, and this will be invested by the Police Oversight Commission and Internal Affairs. So within 30 minutes, wait a second. So 11:50, so 9:20 to 11:59, 2 hours. Now, where's my question is, and I don't even know if you know this, John Tell, but I found out that York Police Department is now using a Bolo wrap. So everybody go check out a Bolo wrap. It's a less than lethal force. And they get close enough, they shoot it at them, it wraps them up, it startles them so you can comprehend in a safer manner. So I'm going to put that in the comment so everybody can check it out. I do know, like, for as far as our local municipalities, York does use it, but we need to start calling for the use of this instead of lethal force, because they're killing people and you can't get their life back once they're gone. And that really needs to be held sacred. Like, that's where we've lost humanity, I feel like.
What
Just
was
because
this?
somebody. Oh, go ahead.
What was the victim's race?
The article that I was sent did not say.
Interesting. Natalie says, was it a negotiator or mental health expert?
Yeah, for sure.
I read both. One is not the same as the other. That's very true.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm
going to share a link that was on a story from the Family Soup TV that is talking a little bit about it. Give me just 1 second.
Yeah, of course. Like, hearing this specific article in the way that it's put, I just want to hear a different perspective as well,
Right.
Do you remember where
I just shared it to you within our group, but it's at the bottom so you can reach it. It was forwarded to us. Yeah, I'm not sure.
All right, so let's go ahead and check this story out. Austin Police Department fatal officer involved shooting at 9:20 a.m. 911 call came in as a disturbance, which was upgraded to a gun hotshot call. Let's see. You said, all right. So 9:51, the gunman said he would shoot himself if officers refused to shoot him. 9:56, the first SWAT officer arrived. 10:10, a negotiator arrived. It became an open-air SWAT call. Officers then attempted to evacuate the neighborhood. 2 hours. There was legal information. That's when police pulled. 11:59, he was pronounced deceased. The incident was captured
Our
on
viewer Natalie Capel said that she thinks he's of Hispanic origin.
Yes. It apparently was caught by multiple people on video.
Ooh, let's go to YouTube, shall we?
The gunman is a Hispanic man named Antonio Gonzalez, according to a reporter. The gunman begged to speak to his brother to de-escalate, and the police didn't allow him to. So that's a fuck up, right?
So he, yep,
Christopher Taylor,
100%.
Christopher Taylor, an Austin police officer, fatally shot Michael Ramos, a 42-year-old Black Hispanic unarmed man, on April 24th of 2020. This is also the same police department in which Officer Brian Yarger pushed a quadriplegic woman out of her chair in April of 2021 by the name of Whitney Mitchell.
What?
Which the family through TV caught on camera. Yeah. I'm going to throw this link in the comments for people to check out as well. This is interesting.
Yeah, let's get a third party into this police department. We can submit right to know requests on their
I feel like
rights and protocols.
I feel like we continue to keep coming across these gangs in the police forces, and I feel like we're really connecting the dots here.
100%. And then we have Jonah coming on the show next week to collaborate, go ahead and explain, deeper what I've been saying and what I've learned from him. And like, knowledge is power, guys. We have to be aware to know. And it was out of my wildest dreams in all reality. Like, I never imagined in a million years that this stuff would be happening right in front of our faces and us not know about it. And so it keeps, happening. We have to police the police for them killing mental health clients, mental health patients. Like, just because you have a mental illness, you are 16 times more likely to be killed by police. The more interactions you have, of course, the more likelihood of a negative interaction. And that's all it takes is one negative outcome. Jontel, you've been a victim of, these situations with police that are, they're just nasty from the start. And I've seen them firsthand. And that's all it takes is one bad decision or one rash decision for a permanent situation to occur. And that's why we have to have each other's backs, pay attention, and love one another.
Yes. That's right. Speaking of love one another, I love you. I love all of y'all, our viewers. It is always a pleasure. We really appreciate all of the support that you give us. It really means a lot. We must be clear and understand what the fundamental problem is and understand the root problem of the system. It is the system.
100%.
The only way we can have changes if we bring leaders in and commit to the long haul, connect through community, right?
Right. We have to bridge the gap where, the resources that are needed to the community members that need it most. And somebody has to be that bridge. So if you don't have a bridge in your community, become the bridge. It will happen.
Become the bridge. Yes.
Become the bridge.
You are the media. You are the media, and it's what helps us grow by donating or sharing to this stream. If you want real, raw news, as we all want, we've got to do it ourselves. And being informed is important. Without information, true and real information, we are left in the dark and with a weak spot. So we will change that. All your support means so much. Every like, every comment, every share, discussion. It means that the people want to know what is really going on in the world. It means people have the solutions and the ideas. People have things to say. The Leon Block is here to be your platform, your mic, your voice. The Leon Block is a grassroots independent media platform by the people seeking to fill the gaps news deserts have created. Left and socialist leaning, we are pro-Black. We cover stories of police brutality, human rights, environmental issues, racism, and more in a more in-depth way that the mainstream can't, won't, or doesn't provide. Our mission
Yes,
is to
honey.
change the way citizens look at media, to embolden everyone to take part in politics and become an integral and active part of their community, to enrich all of our lives and combat racism, to change the way we experience our lives. We focus on police-involved cases and incidents of racism, spirituality, world issues, and news, history, music, and art, and environmental issues. We thank y'all always for rocking with us. Meg, you have anything that you want to wrap up and talk about with everyone before we get going?
Elevate, meditate, love one another, plant seeds of goodness, grace, hope, and stay humble, everybody.
You always keep it short and sweet. I can't with you. I love you. All right, everyone, stay tuned. We will have more to come. As y'all know, we have been doing a little lighter things lately and touching on news because we've had to catch you up on some things. However, we do have some solid episodes coming up, so definitely stay tuned. And we do have Meg coming out with her own show very soon, so stay tuned for that. As always, make sure you meditate on your path, celebrate your being, liberate your spirit, and educate yourself. I'm John Tell.
And I'm your girl, Meg.
Make sure y'all have a good one.
Let's get it, y'all. See ya.
I am here to feed my soul. I walk alone to ensure the energy can flow. And in this life and path and journey, control. I am living, thriving, breathing chi. Living, thriving, being free. Living, thriving, feeling me. Now, when I say I'm hungry, I got nothing to lose. I've been hungry, you was just confused. Now it's clear this bruised and used dude is on cue. Set up my own table, ready to cook some gourmet food. I know, I feel the new coming through. Just gotta sit tight, make moves, and trust my process.